We need to be knowledgeable listeners. We need to know what music is made up of and how to describe it, talk about it intelligently. And with that, let's check your check-ins. Today's check-in question: where's the best place for you to just think about your life for a hot second?
I got a question.
I have an answer. Let's exchange.
How did Billie Holiday die?
Billie Holiday is actually complicated. She had cirrhosis of the liver from drinking too much. And she stopped drinking, but it might have been too late. 40s. And I know. And she was actually in the hospital being treated when a guy arrested her for narcotics. They claimed they found heroin at her place. She was in the hospital then, and she puffed to the hospital bed. I'm not making this shit up. And as part of the treatment, because it was a narcotic-based arrest, they took her off of a certain medicine that may have killed her. Like, in other words, like the medicine was saving her life.
They killed her.
Yep. So that sucks. She was in her 40s, mid to early 40s, which sucks. But it doesn't sound like she was actually very well with the drinking, drugs and whatnot. If you heard her piece, "Strange Fruit," very famous Billie Holiday song. It's about heroin. Hey, it's a song about heroin. Strange Fruit, get it? Yeah. All right, cool. Where's the best place for you to just think about your life for how? Yeah, my bed. Okay. The bathroom. Okay. Yeah, taking a deuce, thinking about your life's choices. That's good. Latvia. Some of us apparently like to go to Eastern European nations to do their thing. That's great. Next to a big tree in an open field. Seems peaceful. Nice. The ceiling. So kind of like Spider-Man. Cool. In the shower or at a pond. Another vote for shower. And then somebody says wild. Just says wild. Oh, the wild. Okay. I'm also a shower dude. Maybe sometimes the bathroom, like taking a deuce, kind of like, hey, thinking. Yeah, or the car. Maybe I'll think a lot of like hypothetical life choice thinking in the car. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
One day I sat in the car for like 2 hours and just stared at nothing. But it was like so silent and like it's like my mind went blank. But it was like I was thinking of something. So like that's the only place I get peace and quiet is the car about myself.
I feel that, and like you need those times, man. You absolutely have to have that at some point. Even if it's not once a day, once a week, where you just space out for a hot second. Yeah.
So you know that male humans
Really? Male humans? I had no idea. Is that true?
I knew that we was special.
That sounds like we're deficient, actually.
we can actually think about nothing. Isn't that just?
So, but you're saying females cannot?
They cannot. They have to be.
I ain't even heard that might be true. Because females, I feel like, no offense, but it's just like they can't just chill. Like they have to be thinking about something has to go through their brain.
And now destiny.
They would come up with an argument like she's ready to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
It can be.
For me, at least, I always feel like I have to get on the defensive. So, like, I'm always coming up with an argument, but I try to listen more nowadays as I've gotten older. I can say, though, I cannot explain those moments where, like, sometimes somebody would be talking to me, and I know I heard what they said, but nothing clicked. My brain just, nothing happened.
I was talking to a female, she was talking to me. I was like, heard everything that you said, but
I just have no
wasn't
clue.
listening.
I just
wasn't listening. I was
it's like the words of pass it on, let's go, and had nothing
Isn't that
registered.
something everybody has?
But apparently, Colin is saying that it's something specific to the male human species.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I think this requires some in-depth investigation and research.
I feel like
So
it's
somebody
very
Google it.
possible because
I don't think there's a way to get them.
we all
Yeah.
have the same related story.
Yeah.
Not one female has came out yet since they thought about nothing.
Because there's no blood in his class.
No, you don't.
Do you space out?
Yeah.
But when you spaced out, are you like literally there's nothing on your mind?
No, they're not like us. Like that's why they say that we don't pay attention like how they do.
Like, aren't you thinking about like unicorns or something like that?
No.
I mean, I'm 40 years old. I still don't know how women work. I have no clue. Yeah, if you're trying to figure it out, you know, boys, it's not worth your time.
I give up at 7. So
Yeah, see, it's smart. You just give up.
my mom can read mine.
Yeah, just say, I'm sorry, honey, and call it a day.
I got this very figured out.
Yeah.
Cause it's like I already know what they doing. Like y'all just get mad at the simplest.
Yeah, so if you already know what they're doing, your first mistake would be to point it out to them. Because then they'll fight you on it, even if that's what they were doing. That's how they do it.
No. You avoid arguments.
All right, let's do something that is kind of work related.
No.
All right, I'm gonna freeze that for just a second. I'm gonna call up this y'all. I'm gonna roll this thing over here.
No. No, you're making this.
Our first task today, we are going to be listening to a musical sample, which has a visual element. So I'm gonna turn off the lights and show you video with it as well. And in this musical sample, you are going to be tasked with trying to describe what it is that you hear. We are going to use 4 different ideas when dealing with music with a critical ear. 4 different categories. They are genre. Genre is the style of music, yeah? It's the type, the category, if you will, of music. Some genres include, name them. Ready, go. Genres. Name a genre of music. Rap.
R&B.
R&B, classical, jazz.
Say.
What?
Say.
Sad. Okay. Blues. All right, so lots of different genres. One of the most complicated genres is the word pop, popular music, because you have popular music that's not popular anymore, but it's still considered pop. So, and where's, for example, the line between R&B and pop, right? But you can also describe something as pop, and it would be sort of like a loosely used genre. Next, we have instrumentation. What types of instruments and voices are used in a piece of music when you listen to it? How can we describe the types of instruments that we might hear? Yes, you may. Yeah, we can start talking about the specific instruments, such as trumpet, or other types of instruments in that family. What family are you doing with? Brass is correct. Yeah, very good. So we can talk about brass. What are the other families of instruments? Woodwind, percussion, and strings. We got it. Cool. So calling back on that elementary school knowledge. Yes. And you used to be in band. Yes. So we could talk about the different types of instruments. We could talk about the voices too, right? So whether you have a high voice, low voice, you could talk about the quality of that voice, right? Soprano, alto, tenor, bass, you could use those words. That's great. Exactly. So there's all kinds of different adjectives that you can use to describe the instrumentation as well. Dynamics. In a piece of music, we need to be able to describe whether it's soft or loud. But the thing is, it's all relative. Dynamics are relative. So when you're dealing with dynamics, you want to talk about, here's a point where it got louder, or here's a point where it got softer. Because you can't say, a piece is soft. Well, soft compared to what? Right? Dynamics is relative. So where are the soft and loud sections used? Maybe you can concentrate on a climax of a piece, right? The moment where it all comes to fruition. That could be a dynamic spot or a contrasting section. Last, we have texture. So texture, I was trying to explain as one of our vocabulary words. It's kind of like the different lines going on at once. So There are lots of different ways to describe that. Which of these items might be present? We have vocals, melody, harmony, drums, bass line, backup vocals, instrumental leads, silence or a beat drop. These are all different ways to describe the texture of the music and how it changes. There's not just one texture usually in a piece of music. It usually changes, just like dynamics, over time. So genre and instrumentation you could sort of describe as happening in one time for the entire piece, but these last two definitely change over a piece of music. And so you need to be able to listen to it and listen for those items and describe them. So we're going to attempt to do that with a piece that I'm going to call up right now.
Nothing here says it's only that.
Ah, and where's your source? Anything with NIH.gov is pretty reliable. Okay,
So it says that everybody has it.
everybody can do it. There you have it. Colin, your theory's been debunked.
Where'd you even hear that?
Well, it sure led for a conversation. Ah, Thanksgiving. All right. Like I mentioned, this is a video, so I'm going to go ahead and call it up. The video will help you a little bit to be able to identify things like instrumentation too. So I want to go ahead and make sure that is available. And then I'll sync it up with the music that I'm going to play through the speaker. Here we go. I'm going to play it. All right? And I want to be nice and quiet for this so we can cue the performance. And ready, set, go.
You're walking in the woods. There's no one around and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spotted Shia LaBeouf. He's following you, about 30 feet back. He gets down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. He's gaining on you.
Shia LaBeouf.
You're looking for your car, but you're all turned around. He's almost upon you now, and you can see there's blood on his face. My God, there's blood everywhere.
Running for your life from Shia LaBeouf. He's practicing the back, it's Shia LaBeouf. Lurking in the shadows. Hollywood superstar Shia LaBeouf. Living in the woods, Shia LaBeouf. Killing for stars, Shia LaBeouf. Eating all the bodies. Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Now it's dark, and you seem to have lost him. But you're hopelessly lost yourself. Stranded with a murderer, you creep silently through the underbrush. Aha! In the distance, a small cottage with a light on. Hope! You move stealthily toward it, but your leg! Ah! It's caught in a bear trap!
Tying up your leg. Living to the cottage. Now you're on the doorstep. Sitting inside, Shia LaBeouf. Sharpening an axe, Shia LaBeouf. But he doesn't really enter, Shia LaBeouf. You're sneaking up behind him. Strangling superstar Shia LaBeouf. Fighting for your life, it's Shia LaBeouf. Wrestling your life, Shia LaBeouf. Stabbing in his kidney. Saving the lives from Shia LaBeouf.
You limp into the dark woods, blood oozing from your stumped leg. You've beaten Shia LaBeouf.
Wait, he isn't dead. Shia surprise, there's a gun to your head. And death in his eyes, but you can do jujitsu. Big body steps, superstar Shia LaBeouf. Legendary fight with Shia LaBeouf. No one can win life for Shia LaBeouf. You try to swing an axe at Shia LaBeouf. But blood is getting fast from your stumped leg. He's counting at his right, he carries to the left. You cut him to the right, you catch him in the neck. You're chopping off his head now. You don't just decapitate Shia LaBeouf.
His head topples to the floor, expressionless. You fall to your knees and catch your breath. You're finally safe from Shia LaBeouf.
The end. All right. Yes, that was a song about Shia LaBeouf. Killing for sport, Shia LaBeouf. Sharpening an axe, Shia LaBeouf. All right.
Chris Mother, Shia LaBeouf.
All right, so let's see if we can come up with some ideas. How can we describe the music that we heard in that composition? Cool. Let's talk with genre. What kinds of music would we say, or genres of music would you say have influenced this piece? You can shout them out. Rap, classical,
R&B.
R&B, I'd say, yep. Cool, there's definitely a classical influence for sure, and then I would definitely say there's probably some pop type of influence with the lyrics and stuff, but you know, something like R&B, rap kind of thing thrown in there. Okay, so ways to describe that, sweet. We have instrumentation. Shout out some names of the instruments that you saw were used.
Violin.
Violins, yep.
Beats.
Harp, what was yours?
Beats.
One more time.
Beats.
Bass, is that what we said? Yeah, bass. I saw like that electric bass player was killing it.
I know. Drum.
Drums for sure. We even had timpani too. So not just a drum set, but a timpani player. Flute. Was there a flute player? Did I miss the flute? There might have been. I might have missed it. Cymbals, right? So the cymbals used in the drum section, right? Anybody see the harp by any chance? There was a harp player. You said harp. That's right. So
It was a
you're
D.
totally right. Good catch. There's what?
DN player.
A what?
DN.
DN?
DN.
What's a DN?
These nuts.
Yo.
That's not even that good.
I got you. I got you. He's like, what else do we got? I was like, DN. He's like, what's a DN? I was like, geez.
That doesn't even make that much sense. It's good. It just needs work. It needs to be refined slightly. Like, for example, like something like, didn't you hear the D? Right, or something like that. Hear the what? These nuts. You know, yeah, there's potential there. But the D, all right, we'll work on it. Work in progress. All right, cool. So we can describe the instruments that we hear and see, of course. Dynamics. Can anybody describe what happened dynamically in that? Let's get a hand for this one. Any ideas on how that could be discussed? Cool. Let's go ahead, Kamara. What do you got?
When the guy was talking, like the main guy,
Yeah.
they went quiet, like the music in the back was quiet.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. So pretty much anytime he was just talking or kind of like rapping or rap talking, right? There was nothing loud because it would have overpowered his voice. Yeah. Cool. So it's definitely soft in the background. And you even use the word that like background, right? Which is about the texture too. So that's really great. Yeah. Go ahead, Anthony.
When he died, it was quiet. And then when you're dead, it's loud.
Yes. Oh man, that was a really good moment, and that was also like Kamari, a textural moment, right? So the dynamics went very soft because you thought it was going to be the end, and then all of a sudden we had pretty much a climactic part where it got very, very loud all of a sudden for that sort of shock factor. Yeah. So you could see that the dynamics had a really big impact. You both highlighted some really important parts in terms of dynamics. Excellent. And now texture. We even heard a little bit about that. Let's see what types of things you might have heard. Did you hear vocals? Sure you did. Was there a melody? Yeah, not always, but at times. So, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, there's a melody, da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. Harmony, did we have harmony? Yeah, we definitely had some sense of harmony and chords that were being used. The bass player certainly makes sure of that. We also had some backup vocals that were helping with harmony. Yeah. We had drums. We were talking about drums. We had a bass line. We talked about the bass. I just mentioned backup vocals. Did you see there was a children's choir and then an all-men choir, and then the choir got even bigger? Like, yeah, that's crazy. Instrumental leads. Were there any lead instruments carrying the melody?
Lead D's.
Lead Ds? No.
Lead instruments?
Yeah. So, like, was there a saxophone solo, for example?
Oh, solo.
Or a guitar solo? In other words, like, so if I'm a lead on an instrument, that's the focus. That's the primary focus. Do you think the instruments were ever the primary focus? No, I'd say the singer was pretty much all the time with the vocals, right? So there weren't any instrumental leads in this example, right? There was no moment where the vocals stopped and it was the instruments and that grabbed your focus, right? That was never the primary focus. Silent beat drop, we described that, right? Anthony already discussed that. So yeah, and we could hear that there were a lot of elements present at the same time as we got towards the end, when we got to the climax. In the very beginning, it was only strings and an area, right? So the texture started off with very few elements and then gradually increased too. Just sort of an overall picture of the texture going from beginning to end. All right. So now that you have come up with on your own a couple ways to describe a piece of music, even one such so bizarre as Shia LaBeouf by Ron Cantor, you can now choose any piece of music that you'd like. But to review, genre. Remember, genre is the styles of music that you might hear or the influences in a piece of music, or it could just be, well, this piece of music is R&B, no problem. Instrumentation. You want to talk about maybe the different families and styles of instruments that you hear. Just use as much vocabulary as you're familiar with. Dynamics. Remember, talk about louds and subs. And dynamics happen at certain spots. Try to highlight those spots when you discuss dynamics. The same thing will happen with texture. How many different things are happening at one time? Is it a full symphony orchestra? Is it just a trio of players? Is it a soloist? That's the texture. Cool. All right. So here is your assignment. Assignment number 5 has been posted in Brightspace for you to actually look at this time, as opposed to not showing up in Brightspace. And you are going to review a piece of music of your choice. Maybe hopefully something that you have access to right now. You can either use YouTube, or you can use your own personal device, or any way to get to a piece of music that you like. Your choice. Any music whatsoever. It could be your favorite song, it could be something that you listen to on the way to class, it could be whatever you like. Then, you are going to create a review. It could be the music to Friday Night Funkin', for example. And you're going to create a review. And in this review, you're basically going to just tell us about the piece in an intro. Don't forget to give me the name of the piece, the artist, maybe when it was recorded, that kind of stuff. A little quick intro, a couple sentences here. Then you're going to write another paragraph that's going to describe those 4 categories that we just discussed. So you're going to try to talk intelligently about the genre, instrumentation, dynamics, and texture. A sentence or 2 on each is probably sufficient. Last, give me your personal opinion about the piece. Why do you like it? Why do you not like it? Why do you listen to this all the time and not get tired of it? That kind of thing, personal opinion would be great. Or it could be, I like this artist and this piece is definitely one of my favorites. Or I like this artist, but this piece I can live with that. All right? And you're going to use the remainder of today's class to write this review. You're going to submit it as a text submission in the text submission box. So if you'd like to create a separate document to write down your ideas, that would be worth it. Then you would just copy and paste into the submission box. Questions on today's classwork assignment?
How long does the intro have?
Couple sentences.
Wait, what is the intro about it?
It's just naming the piece, telling me the artist, and maybe when it was recorded.
We can do any song.
Any song you want. Yep. And in that case, when you're talking about the instrumentation, you're going to say there are no vocals. You'll say it's just these kinds of sounds. If you can identify the sounds, that would make it even best. If you're using, like, say, an electronic music example, this is sort of like an organ sound. This is a drum machine sound. That kind of stuff. That's the right. Okay.
I hope when I get old, I don't get fat.
I remember a time when I was like, my dad pretty fat, and I was like, man, how let yourself get fat like that? Why don't you just like not eat that much or not drink that much?
Yeah.
And then like your metabolism changes and things just change. So my dad bod, just how it is. It was worse over the pandemic. I was 220. I'm down to like 180.
Some to get fat.
Yeah, because that and it's like your metabolism changes. Your body doesn't produce as much testosterone.
Yeah, your body's not gonna break off.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't even eat the spicy foods that I used to like as much. Yeah, because it wrecks my insides. I used to have this cast iron stomach. Yeah, I know. One day. Enjoy your time. That's why they say youth is wasted on the young. Just didn't know at the time.
You spent 8 hours on your years. That's why you was
Yep. If you find a way to not, let me know. I can say that there's some benefits too.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.